I would call right now on the stage Dr. Manal Rifki. Manal, she's Director of Strategy and Business Development at Rakuten in Japan. She's also a PhD researcher on digital asset and one of the top minds globally when it's come to digitization of data or digital asset, if we could call it. Manal, the floor is yours. Thank you very much for taking the opportunity to join us today.
Well, thank you so much, Walid, for the great introduction. I'm not sure about the superlative, but yeah, thank you everyone for being here and for the organizers for putting such a great event. I think is one of its kind. So when the opportunity came with Walid, I said, yes, okay, let's do it, even in a busy day. So lovely meeting you, everyone. And today I chose to talk about a subject that I'm not really, I never actually link it together, which is history and AI. As a big, reader of like history and a fan of like, understanding the new technologies with the history, I chose today to talk about something also related to the GCC, and the Middle East. So yeah, let me just share my screen. So just like an introduction about myself, I'm based between Dubai and Japan. I serve as Director of Strategy and Corporate Development at Rakuten. It's a conglomerate based in Japan, and also VC investor. I invest in a lot of startups, been part of IVC fund still and until today. So we invest in a lot of gaming and AI startups. Of course, AI is like, a tool that, we can't hide as like investors. So of course, we jump into, a lot of AI startups and investment. On the other side, I'm a PhD researcher in digital asset. I've been working in the field since 2017. So I am more interested in the monetary policy and of course, studying money, studying, the monetary policy, digitalization. We always have to link it to history. And that's what takes us today to the subject of that I chose when Walid has shared with me, the agenda. I was a bit confused, but actually I want to thank again the organizers because they put together themes that we don't think about it as investors, as technologists. We always think about the monetary side, the technology, but we don't think about the compassion of AI, the human side, which is really beautiful. And that's the essential, especially that AI is still here, still be here, like, for the next centuries in different forms. Maybe we will reach AGI, maybe not. I'm sure that, a lot of people, they're working on it. So yeah. So without further ado, thank you again, everyone, for sticking to us. I think it's been 3 hours doing this GCC session. So yeah, I choose to start with the history because history tells us what happens when we protect the knowledge and what happened when we don't. So today I want to take you from the Library of Alexandria. As I said, I wanted something to be related to the GCC, subject, the one and only Dunya, Egypt. And what happened when we don't actually protect the knowledge, right? So today, I want to talk about the Library of Alexandria and what it can teach us to build a just AI. Of course, I'm not here to romanticize the past. I'm here to actually use it as, if you think about it, as a mirror, so we can use it, for clearer choices. So I'm starting with the Library of Alexandria because it's the earliest large-scale attempt to gather the word knowledge in one place. It's been founded in the Ptolemaic period, around the 3rd century BCE. And it was attached to the Museum, which are like a community of scholars, translators, and scientists. It has been, called as, like the humanity first global brain. Why? Because ships back then, they were docking in Alexandria were search for scrolls. Works were copied into the collection to make more books, and scholars lived and worked together. It wasn't just like a storage library, actually. It was an organized system for creating and actually preserving the knowledge across culture. So what makes it really, interesting is the diversity that we had in the Alexandria Library, from Greek philosophy to Egyptian medicine to the Babylonian, astronomy. The diversity of the Library of Alexandria, that's what makes it the first attempt of the global human brain, thanks to the diversity. So you will ask me why, the subject for today linked to AI, right? Very legit question. It's because we are building now with AI new systems that concentrate knowledge brain, right? Now it's digital, it's global. We are talking about data, we are talking about algorithm. But as, a comparison, we can really see that diversity that we are trying to build, just like, as the museum, they were trying, I just spoke about them, the community of scholars, translators, they were trying to preserve the brain of the humanity. So the same questions that shaped Alexandria, what gets collected, who decide, and who benefit, are shaping AI today, right? I'm using actually the history as a ground for our conversation in first principle, because if we think about it, for AI and for like Alexandria Library, we have the curation, right? Which knowledge we choose, to feed AI. The inclusion, like who are like, the civilization that we choose to include and not. Maybe now you have like, a direction where I am coming. Resilience, and the risk of centralizing, the memory. So what made the Alexandria, so grandiose is actually the operating model. It was like, a proactive acquisition from every ship that docks in Alexandria port to copy, translate, having a systematic, copying mechanism, residency for like the scholars. They had like a place where to live, a collaboration that generated really a new work. So you can think about it as an early knowledge platform with three loops in tech. We have the collectively collect widely, the collection was really wide. Processing, which is the translation, the debate, the synthesization, and the distribution, which is teaching, writing, and preserving. So due to, of course, historical events, we have lost the Library of Alexandria. Actually, it didn't disappear in one place, as some historian, has, stated. It's actually over centuries, and because of war damages, we had like, the burn of the main, like a place where a lot of books, were stored. So we have lost a lot of knowledge from that, from the centuries they were before. The Serapeum, one of the libraries storehouses, they were destroyed. So also the murder of Hypatia, it symbolized the end of its scholarity, culture. So the practical impact were concrete. Aristotle's book on comedy was lost. Most of Livy's history were lost or damaged. Scientific and medical writing were like, lost. In nutshell, it's an entire branches of knowledge who were lost, and those gaps never fully closed because it wasn't, part of a system as sophisticated as now as a blockchain or whatever. So in a nutshell, what my point here, or like, the analogy that I'm trying to bring is the strength of the library and the grandiose of the library came from its diversity, the processes, not just like, the shelves on the library. And that's exactly, what take us to the, subjects that, the team behind Compassion AI choose to highlight during these sessions. The preach today for AI is to be genuinely useful to the world. It needs the same ingredients, which is, diverse inputs, careful curation, and governance that prevents one perspective from dominating. The Alexandria library lesson is that cultural wisdom doesn't just show up. It has to be intentionally gathered, represented by all, and inclusive by everyone on this earth in order to optimize the systems for the generation coming without disclosure of of any entities that they are not the majorities. So yeah, this is the lens that we want to put today now to the present and to the modern AI systems. I think modern AI systems, they have to be concrete and compress human text to not a precedent talk, because we have all the tools and all the data to actually feed the AI. So having an AI biased based on an English system or based on the Western world, it's really not what's gonna make the next generation really happy about it. Because if we don't feed the AI with all the the creations layers from multiple cultures, including the non broader ones, we might see the collapse of Alexandria happening again, and we might lose these languages that they are minorities forever just because we didn't include them in this new revolution. Concretely, and because I like numbers, this is what's exactly the problem here: the language divide. As you can see here, the distribution of training data is heavily biased and skewed. We have a huge English domination, far beyond its share of global speakers. Arabic, despite being among, for example, the most spoken languages in the world, sits under 1% of many open web corpora. Languages like Hausa or others barely register. That isn't just an accuracy issue, it's more a representation issue or an inclusion issue. So if a language isn't present in the corpus, in its culture, idioms, and knowledge tradition are effectively absent from the system's output that we choose to put in the AI, that is a slow silence and death to these cultures electronically or digitally, which is the same analogy that I was trying to put for the losses that we have in the Alexandria library. These are sources, you can here see the sources. This is from the UNESCO data 2025. This is exactly the digital burning that I was talking about. So the question here is, what can we do differently? We already have working examples. Actually, I think identifying the problem and acknowledging this lack of inclusion is very important. So I'm a person who likes action. This is why I wanted to put also what are the examples that we are working on, different groups from different, industries are working on. So first of all, there are community-led language projects, especially for the minority projects, building speech and text resources for underrepresented languages. The second are education programs where local teams design tools to document their culture and teach the next generation. And last but not least, it's art and research initiative that embed indigenous cultures and populations into how systems classify, relate, and generate content. So the pattern is actually, how to say it, consistent. When communities control data collection, consent, and have a form of governance, the technology kind of preserve rather than erase, right? So the practical takeaway is to fund actually these pipelines as core infrastructure. I think just like as the UNESCO, I'm not like, calling it like, it's more, thinking about it as the UNESCO preserve certain cultures and art. I think language in the era of AI is also as important as the physical art that we have, because that's the future of our human, I mean, like the brain of the humanity moving forward. Yeah, so unity in diversity from a technical standpoint, broader and better labeled data across, as I have mentioned, the inclusion of dialects, for example, the nuances in the dialects. A lot of dialects, they change a lot with the cross culture as well, because a lot of dialects now, they are influenced by the new generation who are actually coming up with slangs. Like, in my own country, I can't even keep up with all the dialects coming up, like, from all the influence that it is happening in real time. So from also a social standpoint, diverse teams catch issues a monoculture misses, and doesn't mean uniformity. We don't want the same things. It means just like systems that they are interoperate across difference, and so users are well served in their own language and context, not forced into the Western or someone else culture. So the call of action here is clear. We want unity in diversification. We want to be unified through all our differences and building our legacy as as we are building the digital era of our human brain. And that, concretely comes into data coverage, governance, and local capabilities. My last message, we're building, this is a call for everyone. Let's not just build AI, let's build a legacy for humanity. If you remember actually one idea today, let it be this. Technology is not just like a code, it is collective memory, and we are all responsible for what it remembers. The Library of Alexandria was humanity's first attempt to gather all knowledge in one place. Its destruction was tragedy. We still feel today. With AI, we have a second chance, but only if we ensure that all the voices are heard and all the cultures are preserved. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Manal. And I think you shed a light on an area which is really, really critical and very much overseen, in terms of the stuff. I come from a Nubian family, but we lost the language about 2 generations away. Meanwhile, my friends here, Walid, mashallah, they practice the language on daily basis. So again, it depends upon so many factors. But again, with the whole impact of the IT and the training of all the public data, which is going to be over by 2027, the data scarcity will be much more severe than what we have today, and it will have much more impact on the minority, as you said, by completely eliminating those from the scene. the questions after that, which I asked to the panelists and everybody who's seen this, what would happen after that? Are we going to be in a loop of synthetic data that is like take us to live in the in the matrix, or are we going to take the burden to generate real content, and generate real legacy, like what our ancestors did? They used to travel like for years to write a book. So again, the question is open. Uh, it's very crucial, because again, and I asked this question earlier, there are a couple of times now we start to get from these LLMs, they became like common, it's like, you are absolutely right, you are whatever, and all this stuff. And there was a study by Harvard University or some other university recently, is that people, they start to borrow such terms in their daily conversation. So, are we going to produce a legacy of knowledge that can be preserved for the next generation, or we are going to be a replica of those models, which are basically statistical models? They could, if you do not get the quality of the input right, then everything will be a big mess.